Yo, what is up, people? Welcome back to the Max Factor. This is where we are helping people to discover the one thing in their life that they're truly passionate about and then giving them the tools and the strategies to totally crush their goals, take their entire life to the max, and discover their one and only Max Factor unique to them. And with me today is Saul.
What's up?
What
Bryan?
is up?
What's up, Max Nation? How you guys doing today?
We are pumped out of our minds. I hope that these guys are like jacked out of their skulls.
I don't know. We might be a little competitive because I get a little jacked up, you get a little jacked up, and everybody's getting a little jacked up.
It starts to go crazy.
I can't.
Yes.
Let's go. So I'm excited to be here, but thank you for having me.
I'll tell you guys something. Saul is one of our frontline coaches that work directly with the franchisees. And what's so extraordinary about Saul is he brings this tremendous perspective that is about one thing and one thing only. It's about winning. This dude is 100% about identifying his goals and then crushing those goals, exceeding expectations. And I think he brings a unique perspective, being an athlete, a guy who obviously keeps himself in tip-top shape. Not just good shape, but like over-the-top, tip-top shape. You know, I see this guy, he lifts up his arm and the bicep is like bulging out of the thing here.
Just trying to keep up with you. That's all.
I got 30 years head start on you, I think, something like that.
It's okay. It's not. It's how you finish at that point. It's all good.
That's true. All right. So this is the thing. So, you know, in our travels together, I mean, I'm sure that you recognize this too. We see people who are at the top of their game, who are literally in the 10% of achievement, right? Mm-hmm. And then we see people who are in the middle, and then we see people are at the bottom 10%,
yep.
Right? So it's like you got the 10% at the bottom, you got 80% in the middle. This is going to work out, right? 80
yeah.
Yeah. And then you got this 10% at the top.
Yeah.
And, you know, what is the difference between that top 10% that differentiates them from everybody else?
It comes down to two things. It's a strong mindset and a strong belief system on there. Number one, you have to have a winning mindset, a successful mindset, and wake up every day saying, I'm going to conquer the world. I'm going to be the one that's going to change my life, my family's life, and everybody else's life as I go along. And then having that strong belief system, you want to be able to say, you know what, I live with a purpose, I know my abilities, and I'm going to showcase it every single day. And that belief system is an energy that's going to get cascaded down to the rest of the team. The team's going to cascade it down to the members bring it back to the home to the families then experience it, and we're just changing lives. It's an incredible thing. So those are the two big things I would say.
You know, I think a lot of people who maybe haven't experienced what you're talking about before don't realize the tremendous impact that small successes, right?
Absolutely.
You know, like when you live at the top 10%, right? It's in sports, let's say, when you achieve that, even if it's just for one game or for even one round of a boxing match or for one moment in time where, you know, it reminds me of that basketball player. There was a young man, he was benched the entire 4 years of high school, but the rest of the team just loved this guy. You know, he had a disability. I think he was autistic, but he was on the team. They made him feel he got to go to the practices, etc., but he never got to play.
Right.
And then that day, do you ever see this video?
Yeah, that's the video.
They put him out on the court, and he shot. You know, I'm not a basketball fan, but he took the shot. He made the shot. It was like the winning shot, and the entire stands, everybody just like came down, picked the kid up. They were holding him up in the air, and you know, to feel that type of energy, even just for that one moment of time, it affects you in such a way that you carry that forward. Really, truly, if you run a business, it's going to show in your business.
Absolutely.
If you have a family, you're going to shine so bright. It's going to affect all of the people around you. Do you have anything you could talk to people about this? Because I would love for people to just walk away from this episode with like that's a pretty good reason to go for it. It's not just about the money or just about the goal or the one event that you're trying to win. It's about how it affects your entire life.
Yeah, you know, I think you and I spoke about this a couple of times. There's a saying that I like to say all the time, and I mentioned this to a lot of owners or managers or people that I just meet in life. There are two important dates outside of being married and outside of having your kids. The day you're born and the day you realize what you were born for. And in that day that you realize you're born for, you understand that for me, it was my ability to help people. It's to make people grow and understand their why at that point. And I come to the realization after 15 years of being in the fitness industry that my goal is to be able to impact people in a positive way, to leave them better where I left them at that altogether. And I realized, I failed a lot. I made a lot of mistakes. I've been sitting in my office with my head down, banging my head against the wall sometimes, just figuring out what I do next. And I really had to take deep dives into my own mental sanity and be like, what am I doing here? Am I on the right course? And then for some weird reason, something happens. You get a phone call, an email, or someone just walks in your office and just say, hey, thank you. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have done A, B, C. I wouldn't have lost 10 pounds or lost weight or build the confidence up that I could ask somebody out on a date or get married and do all these wonderful things. And then you perk up and you say, okay, this is why I'm here. You've got to be able to fail sometimes to win, and that's okay. Some of the best athletes, our best scientists in life have failed. Discovering electricity. Ben Franklin failed so many times before discovering it. It's okay. But that's what builds mental grit at that point. That's what builds up your winning attitude. It's through the failures that you understand how you keep winning, because you don't repeat the same mistakes over and over again. And through those adversities and through those things, I want to be able to teach people the same things that I went through so you don't make the same mistakes on there. And if you do it, it's okay. We work through it, you push through it, and that's it. That's how you build that mental grit.
That's awesome. And sometimes people have to make those mistakes.
Absolutely.
It's part of the process, right? Because it's part of the learning process. Someone shared a story with me the other day about a caterpillar that was trying to work its way out of the cocoon.
Great story.
Did you hear the one?
Oh, yeah.
So he was, telling the story. This guy, Tom, was telling the story. He said, the caterpillar is trying to work its way out of the cocoon, and it's struggling, and it's working, and some young kids passed by and thought it would be a great idea to help the caterpillar. Mm-hmm. So they cut open the cocoon. The caterpillar like kind of blooms into a butterfly, but kind of flaps its wings twice and falls to the ground and just dies. It could never fly.
Yep.
So the whole idea is that struggling and working your way out of the cocoon, the pressure of being in that situation and having to figure out your own way out turns you into the person that you need to become. So sometimes, who is it? You say this all the time. Mike Tyson said, a plan is great until you get punched in the face. Right?
Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face.
Right. So planning is great, but and it's great to be helped out of a situation, but ultimately, nobody is coming to rescue anybody, right? It's up to that individual to, just like that butterfly, figure it out. You could have a coach, but nobody's going to come there and do it for you. You've got to, take the bull by the horns and take your life into your own hands and just basically, what do they call that? GSD, get it done.
Exactly. And the whole Mike Tyson thing, Mike Tyson, top of the world athlete, #1 as far as boxing, a great champion. And they asked Mike Tyson one day, Mike, how do people prepare for you? Because you're literally knocking people out in the first round in less than a minute. And he goes, there is no plan. Everybody wants to come up with a plan. They get in there, they're ready to go, they analyze it, and all of a sudden they get punched in the face, they get a little woozy, they get knocked down, and the plan goes out the window. The best thing you could do is stop planning sometimes and just go through it, because you could be the best plan in the world, but you can't prepare for life. And sometimes life is going to lock you down, and you got to figure a way to get back up and keep fighting. And that's the way you kind of conquer at that point.
So the reason why I feel like we are literally a power team, we're going to just take the world by storm and totally crush us, is this. I feel that there's two aspects to running a business, right, that are just incredibly important to master. The first are the technical aspects of running that business. In our case, you have to learn how to do sales. You have to become a pro at the sales process. Literally, they say to master anything, you got to do it 10,000 times. So here we've got a guy who's a sales expert who's going to go in there, role play 10,000 times with the franchisees to help to one-up their skills, help them to become the people that they need to become technically, right?
Right.
But and there's many other aspects of the business that we're we're coaching them up on a technical basis.
Yeah.
But then the second half of this, right, in my mind, is the person as a whole, is the
Absolutely.
mindset aspect, right? Because it's one thing to coach the technical skill. It's another thing to help person eliminate barriers, eliminate roadblocks, eliminate self-imposed limitations that are seemingly real, but these are false roadblocks that they're putting in their way that are stopping them from achieving success.
Yeah.
This second piece is something I feel that is unique to the Max Challenge. I mean, we're doing this for our members every day, but now we're really looking, excuse me, to take this to the next level for our franchisees and help them not only become technical experts, but to identify, okay, what's stopping me from really going at this with everything I got? I'm going to smash that self-imposed barrier and just go for this.
Absolutely. You know what? False evidence appearing real, right?
Love it.
We create these obstacle illusions in our minds that are not really there. They're not obstacles. They're opportunities for you to keep unpeeling the onion, to discovery. The discovery phase to understand that person's why and how we can help them. And the technical aspect, you know, it's a process. It's just like working out for the first time. It's uncomfortable, but the more times you do it, the more comfortable you get and the more results you see. It's just like a 10-week challenge, right? You're uncomfortable in the beginning, you're trying to figure things out, but the more times you show up, the more comfortable the process becomes on there. And what makes us so unique and different is a lot of our owners or managers or people in our centers experience what it's like to go through a challenge. And it could be such a beautiful testimonial when you engage with somebody over the phone or you're in person with them because they can see it, they feel it. They understand like, hey, I'm being relatable to you because I was you at one point. I understand what you're going through. All I want to do is help you. Is that okay? I have the expertise, I have the background, and I have the passion to help you today. And I know working together, we're going to be successful. So let's get you started.
That's awesome. There's so many people in business in general. I'm not talking about just in the Max Challenge as franchisees, but in business in general that are held back from really going for it, right? And I know for me, one of the strategies that I've used that really helps me is I like to take my physical challenge to the next level. Like I actually box in a ring, you know, spar at least 3 times a week. Because for me, it's like, okay, you know, I'm going to push myself. I'm going to push myself to go the extra round. I'm going to push myself to go the extra 2 rounds. I'm going to push myself to spar with people that are half my age, right? Because sometimes when you do that, it's like you start to realize it was self-imposed and it transcends into the business life and starts to open your mind to what else is possible.
Absolutely.
You know, I used to think that making, you know, several $100,000s a year would be a tremendous accomplishment, which I think it is.
It
right?
is.
And then I thought, you know, wow, like what if I could put another 0 on that? What if I could put another 2 0? You know, and the game just completely changes when you challenge yourself, even if it's a physical challenge.
Absolutely. You know, I think I shared the story with you one time. So when I work out, I look for somebody running on a treadmill or elliptical, and I go right next to that person. And I'm watching them as they go from a 6.0 to a 7.0. What do you think I'm doing? I'm going to a 7.1, a 7.2, because I am competing with that person whether they realize it or not. I put myself in situations where I need to compete to raise my level a little bit harder. It builds my mental grip. You go sparring, I go sparring as well. You know, I'm meeting my coach this weekend, and the first time I told him, I was like, listen, you got to hit me. And he's like, you sure? I was like, yeah, don't crush me. Don't knock me down to the floor where I can't get up. But give me some love taps on there, because everybody's afraid of getting hit. And if you're afraid of getting hit, you're never ready to truly get ready for a fight, just when it appears. So, and I say that to people because if you're afraid to ask for the credit card, if you're afraid to pick up the phone, you're never going to be truly engaged into the process at that point. So if you're always in fear of doing what you're trying to do, you're never going to really come out of your comfort zone. And success lives outside that comfort zone.
You know, this analogy about running on the treadmill and then finding someone who's running at like 7 and then going 7.1. They take it to 8, then you go to 8.1. They take
Absolutely.
It to 9. It's the same thing in business, right? You become like the 5 people you hang around the most. I think we probably said that in every single one of these conversations we had, we did like 7 of these already, and every single one. But it's true, you become like the people that you hang around the most. So, you're using that in athletics. I feel like in business sometimes, what is it? People like to kind of surround themselves with like people.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's difficult to step out of your comfort zone and find somebody who's in that top 10% and befriend that person. Go have coffee with that person. Take them out to dinner. Literally befriend that person. See how they spend their day. Just go to their business and follow them around. I find those things to be extraordinarily helpful. They might make you a little nervous, the person a little nervous at first, right? I know for myself, like if I go into a room of people that are making, that are running businesses that have more zeros on the end of their, sometimes it could become very intimidating. But before long, I start to realize, wow, like their attitude, the words they use, the way they interact with their employees, the way they set goals, the way they organize their time, all that is rubbing off on me a little bit.
Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you right now, you learn some really awesome best practices with these people. One of the things that I picked up recently that really helped me kind of bring more clarity into my mind was doing meditation. And I am a very physical guy. I love competition. I love to hit. I like to clang and bang. I'm ultra competitive. However, I needed to relax my mind sometimes because then I'm in the process of I can't shut it off. There's too many things going on in there. And I started building 5 minutes a day of just quiet time and meditating. And then I have my journal and I write down everything that's in my mind because once I put a pen to paper, it builds this muscle memory on there. And then I can feel it once it's on paper, I own the process at that point. It's a contract to myself that I'm gonna execute the following things on there. Then I can go to sleep peacefully because I feel like, okay, it's out of my brain, it's on paper, I wake up and tomorrow morning it's there and I start goal setting on when I wanna get it done. So you have to be able to find out what is your lane that's gonna help you build that mental grit. Sometimes it's working out, sometimes it's gonna be reading a great book, sometimes it's gonna be surrounding yourself with like-minded people, or just working out. But you gotta discover these things by being able to interact with the right people who are successful and positive influences on your life.
They say that attitudes are contagious. So positive attitudes, it's true, right? It's 100% true. It's when I'm surrounded with positive people, man, I feel like I'm unstoppable. And when I'm around people who are eating nutritiously, who are taking care of their bodies, who are exercising regularly, I find myself in a completely like, okay, I'm one-upping my nutrition. I'm one-upping, or I'll call it 10xing my nutrition. Not just one-upping, we're really leveling it up. We're 10xing our nutrition. We're 10xing our fitness. But when you start to hang around people who compromise, and you do that too long, it starts to creep in. It happens to the best of us. And that's when I have to really put myself in check and say, okay, wait a minute. Like, this isn't taking me to where I want to go. I'm becoming lazy with my nutrition. I'm becoming lazy with my exercise. I'm compromising. I'm becoming more like these people that I don't truly want to be like. Now, I think that goes for physical fitness. I think it goes for health, optimizing your life, family, and your business as well.
Absolutely. If you look at a lot of our key athletes and I'll take Drew Brees as an example. So he works with multiple coaches. There is literally a coach that's working on how to build an amazing throwing arm. He goes see a sports hypnotist. He sees a psychologist. He also sees a physical therapist. So he's working with multiple people in here because he truly realizes that he wants to be the best. Peyton Manning did the same thing. John Elway did the same thing. Michael Jordan did the same thing. You look at all the people they worked with some type of personal trainer or coach or health coach to give them the best tools they need to be prepared and be the best in the world. And a lot of them all suffer from some type of anxiety, created their own head trash, and someone needed to mentally redirect them sometimes, or passionately redirect them sometimes to say, it's all in your mind. You got this. Let's talk about it. Let's figure it out together and cross over that threshold of mental capacity to 10x it to the next stage in their life.
That's what I love about this relationship so much and what you bring to the franchisees. And that, again, we talked about it in the beginning, but I just find it to be so incredible that it's more than just learning how to technically do a sale. It's about learning to identify and then overcome the head trash, the obstacles that we're putting in our way.
Absolutely. I mean, 15 years of being in the fitness industry, I created a lot of my own head trash. And I've went through a lot of anxious moments where I felt like, oh my God, what's gonna happen next? I'm trying to figure out how to control this. And I soon realized after working with some amazing coaches that, listen, control what you can control. What you can control right now is picking up the phone, calling somebody, and helping them. The 5% of the uncontrollable is still going to be there, and we'll figure it out. That's not a problem. That broken fan, we'll figure a way to fix it. That light bulb that went out, it's okay. It's going to be fixed. But what you control right now is your ability to positively influence somebody and help and change a life. You have the ability to cascade this wonderful energy about yourself to somebody else. And I think I mentioned to you this, it's a true law. Energy is neither created nor destroyed. It is transferred from one party to the next. So if you feel my passion, if you feel my energy right now, I'm going to give you goosebumps right now, because I'm going to give you everything I have right now, because I know you're going to take that same energy that's really hardest in you, that kinetic energy, and you got to really give it out to somebody else at that point. And that's where I want to bring to the table, is bring that energy in there so you can be able to grasp it, use it, harness it, and deliver it.
That is 100% true. It's probably even 120% true. What I feel is that the opposite is true too. So the people who come in and don't really connect with the idea that on the other end of that phone or the other end of that table, someone's sitting across from you and you're explaining the program to them, and you're going to, at the end, ask them to enroll. They don't really make the connection that you're helping people. This isn't about doing something to them. You're not doing something to them and taking the money from them. You're literally doing something for them. And if you start to really put a hold on this and put it around, into your heart and into your mind, people would be like, my gosh, like I owe it to this person to ask them to enroll at the end. Because if I don't ask them to enroll, their friend, their neighbor, their husband, their wife, some well-meaning relative might convince them out of doing this program for some really BS reason, right? They're going to say it's too intense, it's too expensive, it's too this, it's too that. But you got to know in your heart, this program and each of the individuals that are involved with the Max Challenge has the potential to literally save that person's life by helping them by giving them the courage to enroll in the program.
What's the worst thing someone's going to tell you when you ask for a credit card? No, right? It was the worst fear I had when I first started my career in sales. I was so scared of the word no. And if we go back to the Mike Tyson analogy, I was so scared to get punched in the face. So I did not ask for the credit card in the beginning, oftentimes. And I knew based on my calls, all I had to do was say, let's get you started today. And once I started becoming more comfortable with that process, it really changed the way that I felt comfortable and confident in my abilities to help others. And I remember I had this great leader came in one day in my office and goes, you have all the potential in the world to help as many people as you want, but you're so scared just to either assume it or ask for the sale. So I'm gonna help you out with this. He sat right in front of me just like we are right now. And he goes, you ready? I'm like, yeah. No, 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 no. He yelled no in my face like 100 times. How do you feel about it? I was like, okay, I get it now. I could take a no now. Okay, great. So now let's do some calls together. He sat in front of me and he's like, I want you to call everybody and I want you to assume the sale. And get ready for them to say no. And then we'll talk about it, and I'm gonna show you how to overcome that objection next time. And I was so thankful for that, because he was like my personal trainer. Someone to technically do certain things into my abilities and my tactics, to say, do this, change this, flip this, arrange this, make this little move in there, tweak this little further, and you're gonna get it. But it's up to you to keep going to the gym and executing on those goals.
That's awesome. And now it's your passion to give that back to others. And I could tell you, like, the greatest fear that I think most people have is the fear of rejection, right? The fear of the prospect saying no, the fear of the whatever it might be, asking somebody out on a date, whatever it is. It's the fear of rejection.
Absolutely.
And most people, instead of, for whatever reason, they can't identify that it's the fear of rejection. So that's where these other excuses start to pop up. I don't have the time, I don't have the energy, that's not me, I couldn't say that. That wouldn't work here, right? For God's sakes, like, I've seen businesses that were literally 3 miles from other businesses. Business A is flourishing. They're doing $1 million a year in sales, right? Yep. Business B, is doing a quarter of that,
Yep.
barely scraping by. They could barely pay their expenses. But when you interview the owners, the person in the one that's flourishing and in the center that's flourishing always has this positive mindset. If somebody says no, they're going to go right to the next one. They understand that the best of us have a 50% closing ratio, right?
Yep.
So you're going to get a lot of no's. And every no brings you one step closer to a yes. That's the person who's not making it, who's scraping by. They don't have a strong mindset. They're saying, people around here are different. 3 miles from the other center, people here are different. They don't have the money. The economy's bad. Meanwhile, the economy's better than it's ever been, ever. I've got a friend, he's well into his 70s. He said to me today, in my entire life, the economy hasn't been as good as it is now. Right. This is a CEO of a tremendous company. He's telling me the economy is better than it's ever been in his entire life. Yet, there's business owners, people here are different, they don't have the money, the economy is not good. Head trash.
Absolutely. And you have to identify yourself as a leader to build a strong performing team around you at that point. People that are going to encourage you, that are going to have loyalty to you, have the same passion and drive that you do, and you're going to soon identify that these people want you to succeed. So by building this high performing team of people that are going to just make you feel like you need to work for them, you build up the servant leadership attitude at that point. You are a servant leader to them to be able to show them best practices, the ability to influence a culture, and the ability to be able to really deliver at a 10x level on a daily basis and a consistent basis to drive your business forward at that point. So you have to identify with yourself, hey, I'm responsible not only for the members, but I'm responsible for this team behind me.
No doubt about it.
Because if I don't do my role right now, I'm impacting them.
Yes, and the fact of it is that no matter what somebody tells you, right? You are the product. You are your business. If you're a business owner, people are going to watch you very closely, but they're not going to listen to you very much. So when they see that you're willing to take that extra step, when they see that you're 10xing it, when they see that you're executing with excellence, when they see that you have passion and that you have drive and that you're not willing to settle for mediocrity and to lower your standards, they're going to rise up.
Yep.
Your people are only willing to play up to the level that you're willing to play. So if you play at 70%, then you're lucky if your people play to 50%. But if you're all in and you're playing at 110%, your people, you'll get them to 90%. You'll get them to 95%. Mm-hmm. It's the law of attraction too, right?
Yeah, exactly. What you put out there, you get back at that point. And that's a great book. If anybody hasn't read it or even watched the YouTube special on it, go out there. Whatever you put into the universe is going to give right back to you at that point. So
I'm going to watch it again this weekend. It's on The Secret, right?
Yeah, it's Secret. Absolutely. One of the things that I encourage, and I'm actually giving it out to a lot of the franchise owners right now, is The 1 Minute Manager. It's a great book. It's an old book. 20 years old. And, it's a great way to just be able to have this caring, candid conversations with your team, because you got to be able to have, these opportunistic call to actions with people and then hold them accountable for it. There needs to be an accountability piece. And sometimes it's okay if you don't identify with the right person in there. You're still growing and building a team. And the worst thing you could do is have a C+ player there for months and months and months, and we're not redirecting them. We're either not coaching them up or coaching them out at that point. It takes great teams that won Super Bowls, world championships in there. They didn't get it right off the bat. They had to change the team over and over again sometimes to bring the best people in there to take you to the next level.
The leaders making those decisions.
Absolutely.
And I feel that sometimes small business owners, the biggest mistake that we make, and I'm going to put myself right in that pile, is we abdicate rather than delegate. Right? Like the person who takes the rookie salesperson, just throws them into the field and doesn't give them any coaching, doesn't spend time with them, doesn't explain things in detail, doesn't role play with them, doesn't listen to the phone calls and then give immediate coaching. They just abdicate it. And then they show up 3 months later and they wonder why, sales aren't good.
Listen, it's a simple thing. The fastest reader is the fastest leader. You have to learn to earn at that point. So it's okay if it's not in your comfort zone, ask for help. Let's sit down. I hear it all the time. I don't have time to do this, and that. but you have time to learn and to build the way that you need to educate your team to get better. You have to delegate and regulate and inspect what you expect at the end of the day. Everybody's like, well, I trust my team. You could trust, but that's earned over time. And you want to trust, but you want to verify altogether. In order to do that, you got to make the time for yourself to look at the team as a whole and say, hey, how do I analyze my team to get them better? And we don't get the time to do that because we're focusing on that 5% of the light bulb being out, or the fan's not working, or the chip paint on the wall sometimes, which are all important things, but take the time and use it to the resources to the right way.
They're all important things, but a person's mind tends to go away from the things that they might not be engaged in, that they might not feel, right? So that might frighten them. So they immediately get caught up in changing the light bulb or painting the wall or whatever it might be, rather than having a difficult discussion or doing the sales themselves and learning the process so that they have the knowledge to give back to the employees and not just say, hey, go get some sales. You know, they'll develop their own sales muscle so that they could give back to the franchisees, to their employees, and really coach them up to be A players on the team.
And then once you're doing all those things, then you're really creating this amazing culture in your centers. And once the culture is there, you're building this community. People are coming in, they feel the energy, they feel the love, they feel the family aspect behind it. And they just say, I really love being here. It's like a second home to me. I feel this warmth and energy in here. And you build that, and sometimes it may not come off the bat. But the more you recognize the right people in the right seats a lot of times, the people who are delivering at a high level, from passion to drive to consistency in driving the numbers, it's all going to come together. The high-performing team plus the culture, you're going to exceed measurable results.
No doubt about it. So this is the thing. Someone a couple days ago said to me, it's about the people, it's about the people, it's about the people. And it's true. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we're fortunate. We're surrounded by so many incredible people. The shift, the change is when, you know, the small business owners, when we all start to realize you have to start with the culture. You have to have incredible people. You have to have nice people, pleasant people, motivated people. You can't teach these things. That's the first half. But then number two is you got to clearly identify the results that you're looking for, and you got to hire people who have the capacity to totally crush the specific goals that you have. If you have a sales role that needs to be filled, you don't want to accidentally put a bookkeeper in a sales role. It's not going to work.
Yep.
You don't want to put a salesperson in a bookkeeper role. That's not going to work either, right? But that's, you know, building a high-performance team culture and putting the right people in the right seats. It's incredibly important and too overlooked. I, for one, I'm incredibly excited about what the future holds for the Max Challenge. Now, as we build our incredible team and bring more really fantastic people like Saul into this team, it's only going to allow us to propel this forward in even a more dramatic, more energetic, and more effective manner, and help more franchisees to totally crush it.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. You know, I think I mentioned to you before I came aboard is, you know, I was in the fitness industry for 15 years. I left for 2 years. There was just a lot of shaking and moving on there, and I haven't been passionate about, you know, doing anything with fitness in a long time. Then I learned about your story. I learned about the Max Challenge, how it's unique and different from anything in the world right now. And you guys are currently changing the world and making it into such a beautiful, wonderful place with what you're doing. And you guys are going to 10x it for the years to come. And it really drove me to be repassionate again about what I can do to help you, the Max Challenge, and all the owners to really identify how to get to the next level and how to 10x it in their centers altogether. You know, your story and my story is not much different. You know, I was a fat kid that was picked on in school all the time. It caused me to just have this anxiety about my body. It caused me this anxiety in general. And I went home. I had two older brothers who I truly love more than anything. And I got picked out of home. And I felt I had to just, you know, I was embarrassed to taking my shirt off over years. And, you know, over time, as I got, you know, to resource some good help on it, I discovered this comfortability because I started working out. And I started, you know, training hard. I got involved with sports and athletics. And over time, sports and working out really gave me the confidence I needed to change my life. And if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't know where I've been at. And I say this to you, and I say this to everybody right now, because fitness and wellness programs and all these beautiful things that we do really is not only the victories on the scale, but the non-scale victories as well. The confidence, the ability to love myself, the ability to be able to pass it forward and share with other people, it just gives me goosebumps right now.
That's awesome. So that's at the core of what makes this the absolute most effective program on the face of the earth. It's run by people who are not just rolling out of bed and dragging their asses in to, check off things on a checklist.
Yep.
We are literally on a mission to change the world, to make the world a happier, healthier, more fulfilled place. So with that, let's close this out with a bang. Like, one thing that you could tell everybody out there, whether it's a member that is looking to get in the best shape of their lives, or a business person that wants to take their business to next level, what's the one thing that you want to tell them?
It starts and ends with you every day. When you wake up in the morning, realize that you just conquered a big victory that most people can't. You woke up today. You got air in your lungs. You put your feet on the ground. You stood up. You got the ability to kiss your family. You got the ability to put your clothes on. And now you have this ability to be able to do something powerful for either yourself or somebody else. And that's just, it's a mindset. If you could just wake up every morning and say, thank you. I'm lucky, I'm blessed to be alive today, and I'm gonna make the use of this day to really impact myself in a positive way or somebody else today. That's where I would love to leave everybody off right now.
That's it. The greatest power on the face of the earth is the power of gratitude.
Absolutely.
You heard it right here on the Max Factor. So when this changes your life, I want you to come back and say, thank you very much, Saul. You gave great advice, and it really helped. And I believe it did. So let's give a big boom. Ready?
Ready?
Boom.
Boom.
All right. See you guys later.